Spike episodes have kind of had a nasty reputation throughout the show. Some are great, like Meltdown, but then the quality of stories range from okay to bad, like with Father Knows Beast or Spike at Your Service. But there's one episode that typically flies under the radar when discussing the Purple Dragon's best and worst stories. That being Secret of My Excess. Yeah, you really don't hear everyone talking about this episode, and it often gets lost in the minutia of his subpar episodes. But honestly, with all things considered, this is actually a pretty good episode. So let's experience some Season 2 nostalgia and analyze Season 2 Episode 10, Secret of My Excess. Objection! So the episode begins with Twilight working on one of her favorite days of the year, Reshelving Day.
The art of the to-do list. Actually, I kind of want to read that again.
I would say it goes nowhere with it being a one-off gag, but it does actually pay off later. Rarity arrives and is immediately smitten with the fire ruby, and after some not-so-subtle hints, he gives her the ruby.
You really like it, huh?
Like it? It's magnificent.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
Now, in any other situation, this would come off as extremely shallow and manipulative of the element of generosity for her to take that gem. However, that's not the case here. Yes, she's throwing big hints that she would like that gem, but she never outright asks Spike to give it to her, and she is merely enjoying the sight of the ruby. And the over-glamorized scene of Rarity flitting her eyes is clearly from his point of view, with all the sparkles, vignettes, and whatnot, so it's just a fantasy he's having. Don't believe me? Here's Larson's comment about the episode itself, saying it's just a fantasy sequence, nothing to worry about. So this is what the dialogue actually sounded like.
You really like it, huh?
Like it. It's magnificent.
Finally, we know that Spike's had a crush on Rarity since the beginning, so seeing her happy makes him happy. Sure, he's been growing that gem for months, but it's basically his birthday dinner, and once it's gone, it's gone. The fire ruby as a gift is much more meaningful to both parties, as it's a generous act that will last forever. And so will that kiss. But after weeks of grind build-up, Twilight's not gonna let that go.
Now you're thinking with portals.
So it's the day of Spike's birthday, and every pony showers him with gifts. Way to save on packaging, Dash. What is this mystery gift?
Ooh, I think we have another present here for Reese.
I wonder what it is.
I usually just get one present from Twilight. A book.
Okay, to be fair, this is Spike's first birthday outside of Canterlot, and this was before Twilight really understood friendship, thus the bookworm simplified her gift ideas to, hey, I like books, Spike will like them too. Anyway, the birthday scene is one of the critical parts of the whole episode. Again, Spike is used to only getting one birthday gift per year, and for him to receive this sudden surplus of gifts from all his friends, he's not used to this kind of treatment. So when he later goes around town receiving gifts without asking, he starts to become more addicted to the point where he is eventually demanding gifts.
Well, aren't you gonna give me something? You know, like a birthday present?
I don't have anything.
Well, how about those flowers? I'll take those.
Spike!
Yet it still feels organic with his character and his progression into greed. And this episode, when you look at it from the outside, is really just an allegory for addiction. You have Spike lying to Twilight about being able to keep his desires under control.
You're out here demanding gifts now?
Wow, you're right, Twilight. I don't know what got into me. Thanks for snapping me out of it. I better go give Cheerilee her hat back.
Would I lie?
See you at home later?
Sounds good. Bye!
Fool you! He starts stealing stuff indiscriminately, feeding his greed addiction even more, and not even acknowledging or taking seriously the issue when literally caught in the act by Twilight.
Spike, what did you do after I saw you?
Well, I went to talk to...
Spike!
Which constantly leads to his problem literally growing.
My arms aren't usually this long either. What's happening to me?
Well, Spike, it's called puberty. It's a time in a young Drake's life when he'll notice changes to his body, such as... And that was the second time I got crabs. So my final bit of advice, don't buy crabs from a shady fishery store. Your stomach will regret it. Mr. Code, please continue before I throw up. I don't want to remember that dinner. Right. Anyway, Twilight does take logical steps to try to fix Spike's issue. From going to a doctor, then to a vet, since we're dealing with biological issues. When that fails, they head to the Shaman Zakora, where we are introduced to the concept of dragon greed.
A dragon's heart is prone to greed. If this trait should go unchecked, if Spike continues to collect, more growth will certainly occur. He is going to turn into a monster.
Although the most shocking revelation is that Spike is made of squeeze! And from this point on, the whole entire climax, the whole third act is just so enjoyable from beginning to end. There were already a bunch of great comedic moments in the first two acts, and now with Spike on an absolute rampage in town, there are just too many hilarious moments to count. You have Pinkie Pie assaulting the giant dragon with cake, the King Kong imagery of Spike abducting Rarity, her yelling at the fire-breathing dragon of death, and the Wonderbolts failing horribly.
It's important nobody finds my hidey hole.
Rarity eventually breaks through to him in a logical revelation, leading to them plummeting to the ground.
I've always sort of had a crush.
It's a sweet reveal, and Rarity's all calm because, one, she knows things will be fine, but also that she's fully aware of his crush and is okay with it.
And she's dead!
The end.
If I had a minor nitpick with this episode, it's actually this scene here. The lighthearted ending is okay, but you really could have had a much more meaningful and emotional scene here. Spike looking at his claw is a rather powerful scene. It's a terrifying notion to him that when he grows up, he could end up like the feral, greedy dragon that he was that just rampages village and possibly hurts ponies. A legit scary foreshadow or warning about the future if he doesn't get his greed under control. I would have gone with a much more emotional ending of him admitting his fears of what he will become and the others hugging and reassuring him that they will do anything they can to help him out. Again, tying back into the whole addiction theme. But hey, if that's my biggest complaint, consider it null because this was such a good episode. The comedy was great, the themes of addiction were handled extremely well, and Spike's progression of greed and understanding felt organic to his character. And the ending climax itself is just a thrilling ride. So if you think all Spike episodes are horrible, go back and rewatch this episode. And take some joy knowing that good Spike episodes do exist. Well, that's it for today, guys. Until next time, and see ya!